He is shocking everyone. We are talking about one player in particular that absolutely made the play of the game versus the Colts, what Sean McVay had to say about it, as well as what Kyle Shanahan of the 49ers had to say about his starting quarterback and whether or not he will be healthy on Thursday. All on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Hidon. Remember, if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, press the subscribe button now, as roughly 61.4% of you guys are watching the videos, but you're still not pressing that subscribe button. All I'm saying is if you're already watching, might as well press that subscribe button so you don't miss any daily Rams content here at the Rams Digest. For those who did stay tuned with us through that live stream on Sunday, really appreciate you guys for coming in and saying hi in the chat. Me and Joshua Feinhurst obviously take a lot of time out of our day to go and make those live streams. So when you guys are in the chat kind of responding to us back and forth, we love having those conversations. So make sure you guys subscribe, stay tuned. We potentially can go live on Thursday. Fingers crossed that some things kind of fall in the right order for me personally with my own personal schedule. But if it doesn't, maybe Joshua Feinhurst will do a solo live stream. We'll wait and see on that. But subscribe so you don't miss that opportunity to join us and watch along if we're able to do so this Thursday versus the 49ers. But first, let's not get too ahead of ourselves and talk about the 49ers. Let's talk about what the Rams did versus the Colts, right? After beating the Colts, McVay had high praise for this Rams standout Los Angeles Rams head coach. Made sure to give this player his flowers for the biggest play of the game. You could probably already tell who we're talking about. We'll explain it right now in a second. But overall, Sean McVay giving his flowers to one player in particular, I do understand and respect and love that Sean McVay does things like this. I know sometimes the coach talk, the coach speak can kind of be a little bit frustrating for fans when maybe he's coming out after a game saying we can do better and I can do better and this is on me or this is on this person and we got to focus on this XYZ. But ultimately, it's kind of what good coaches do, right? What do you want Sean McVay to say? Do you want him to be so real that he's just kind of being honest about, oh, we sucked today when your team wins, or we didn't do good enough in XYZ, or whatever it is? You can ask Sean McVay to be a different type of coach if you want, but ultimately, I think he's proven to all of us that he's a pretty capable coach, and I think you trust him and you trust that he knows what he's doing and knows what he's talking about when it comes down to how he speaks to the players and how he speaks to the media. In all honesty, he's done a really good job of just kind of being a solid coach in that perspective, right? And so when he was mentioning this one particular player, this is what he had to say. He says, "Can't say enough about him." For those who don't know what we're talking about Tutu Atwell with that final 88-yard reception to finish the game for you versus the Indianapolis Colts. So Sean McVay says you can't say enough about him. You just never know when your number is going to be called. And he kind of just stayed ready. And that's tremendous credit to his work, mentality, our mental toughness, and his resilience. I love him so much and really happy for him. And we had to have that play today. It was awesome. And truthfully, he's right? The Rams have Devontae Adams. You have Puka Nacua. You have Kyren Williams, who, yes, he lost a fumble kind of just slipping out of his hands, right? But ultimately, you have these players who you would expect the Rams to actually go to in big moments. But you do need guys to be ready to step up when needed most. And Tutu Atwell, say what you want, wide open. They had 10 men on the field with the Colts. Sure, all those things are true, but at the same time, Tutu Atwell, a great move. Just his quickness, his speed kind of trips up the defender. And then obviously the Colts not having all 11 men on the field got them a little confused, out of position. Rams take advantage. Tutu puts the burners on him, makes a nice catch. Open grass field, and obviously takes it to the house with Cam Bynum, of all people, chasing him down, trying to make the tackle. But ultimately, the Rams, win the game because of Tutu Atwell on that play. It's a 2-minute drive, about a minute and 50 seconds left to go in that fourth quarter for any of those who you missed it. And Tutu was able to get open when they needed it the most, and obviously Stafford able to hit him on a dime. So overall, a lot went into that game versus the Colts. A lot of bad came out of that game. A lot of things the Rams need to work on, need to address as a team, but also a lot of positive. You found a way to push through, be resilient is a word that I think Joshua Feinhurst used during our live stream, right? The resiliency of this team to keep on fighting when everything was going wrong and it looked like you're probably losing to this Indianapolis Colts team who, yes, they're not as good as you think, but they also are not as bad as you think, I should say. But also they're pretty good. They're a 3-0 team, so you have to respect that. And they were a solid squad. Looked like they had you on the ropes multiple times in that game. Regardless of what you want to say, give credit to Adon Mitchell. Give credit to whoever you want to give credit to. The Rams found a way to win at the end of the day. That's all that matters. A W is a W. The Rams can now go into this game versus the San Francisco 49ers with a 3-1 team as well on their side. You're 3-1. Now you're a little more evened out. And at the end of the day, playoff seeding, all that stuff, these wins matter. It was ugly, but you got the job done, and that is a key here for the Rams. We have a couple other notes we can kind of talk about here in terms of that game. Some interesting stats that came out of that game. Stafford had a perfect passer rating in the fourth quarter, 158.3. The second person to achieve that this season. So just the second quarterback to do that in one quarter, or the fourth quarter specifically. So very impressive stuff from your quarterback, Matthew Stafford. During the Rams' fourth quarter comeback, Stafford completed 9 of 11 passing attempts for 172 passing yards. Yes, a lot of those came on that 2-2 play. Third highest in the NFL this season, and 2 touchdowns, facilitating a 72.7% success rate on pass attempts via NFL verse data. That accounted for 45.9% of his 375 passing yards on the day and 2/3 of his touchdowns. So, kind of weird ways to say it. But overall, basically what we're saying here is Stafford played really, really good in the fourth quarter. A guy you need to play well in every single quarter. He did play well, picked it up in the fourth. I know he had some moments throughout the first half where maybe it was just not looking super clean. And it kind of going back to that Philadelphia Eagles game, right? Just not really looking too clean at all times for Matthew Stafford. Just not really, 100%, looking his best at all times right now, which, hey, that's just fine. It happens for quarterbacks in general. You like to see him when it matters most step up, and ultimately that's what he did. And he put the team on his shoulders a little bit. Had some help from Tutu and company, but shout out to Matthew Stafford for playing absolutely incredible in that fourth quarter, helping you come back and make that game a W. And then moving on from that, we have other things from that game that we can discuss, right? When we're talking about Kyren Williams, for example, his 84.6% success rate on the ground was the best for any qualified running back in a game this season via Next Gen Stats. So we're talking about the running game now being better than for the Rams, right? As I'm ruining some of the other stuff here, but the running game is better for the Rams. That a lot of people frustrated in the live stream watching along with Joshua Feinhersh and I, just saying, like, why aren't you just running the football? The passing game is not really there for you, and the running game was successful, right? And that's what it felt. It really felt kind of weird. Blake Corum wasn't really running the ball too well last game on Sunday, but overall, Kyren was clearly running very, very well, according to Next Gen Stats, apart from the fumbled handoff, which was very, very ugly. Something McVay took responsibility for on Monday when speaking to reporters. Williams' shortest run of the day went for 3 yards. He was constantly putting the Rams ahead of the sticks, and for the second straight week, most of that production came on an outside zone run. So 47 of Williams' 77 yards on the ground game and on outside runs, 61%, and he averaged 6.7 yards per carry on those attempts via Next Gen Stats. LA did the same thing last week in Philadelphia, and the Colts presented a similar front that the Rams took advantage of. So the point is, outside runs, Kyren Williams looks great, got a little bit of a burst going. He's looking really, really good in that sense. Now, did he get in the end zone? No. Did he really? Did you use him to your advantage in terms of actually using him to win the football game? No, it's tough, especially once the game started getting away from you a little bit. You started to be down and needing to throw the football, having that pressure on your shoulders to throw the football down the field. But ultimately, Kyren and the run game looking solid. I think definitely answered some questions, by the way. A lot of people questioning whether maybe Blake Corum should play more or get more snaps than Kyren Williams. Kind of just, I think Kyren's your guy. Blake is the guy to come in and give you some kind of change of pace at times, but Kyren is your guy. We can kind of stop thinking about Blake Corum ever taking over the starting role. I just don't think that's going to happen, and I don't think you need it to happen ultimately. Kyren looking pretty good. The run game looking very good as well. McVay took blame for that fumble, maybe miscommunication on the play call. Either way, it looks like the run game is back in good shape with Kyren Williams leading that front as well. So overall, the Colts game, you have a lot of negatives to take away from that game. Here are a couple positives here. Stafford playing well in the fourth quarter. The run game looked pretty good. Tutu out while finishing that game strong. Puka doing his thing. Devontae, I think, doing what you expect him to do in that game. The tight ends not really getting as involved as much as we thought they would this year, but a lot to move forward and improve on for this team. this is what you kind of want from your team, though, right? You want them to go through these battles, go through these tough stretches to see where they have to improve. Now the Rams know, hey, you're not a perfect team. You got to still kind of win these games against guys like Daniel Jones and these teams like the Indianapolis Colts. You got to figure out how to be successful throughout the rest of the year, obviously playoff time as well. It's good for them to go through these tests and then come out on top, I think, ultimately, when it's all said and done. Moving on from that, before we move on to any other news here, I did want to quickly talk about the 49ers on Thursday because it is the Thursday game. If it was next Sunday, maybe we have more time to talk about it, but it is already on Thursday, so I did want to kind of get this sneak peek in. 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy's status uncertain for Thursday night's matchup versus the Rams. So obviously huge key for the Rams when we're talking about what they're playing against, right? Maybe Brock Purdy's healthy, maybe he's not rooting for injuries at all. Also, Mac Jones, any quarterback seems to be pretty successful in this Shanahan offense and system that he has kind of solidified in San Francisco. They get good quarterbacks in the building, don't get me wrong, but Jimmy G, you're talking about Brock Purdy. Trey Lance had a little bit of success at one point in time, a little bit, right? Nothing too crazy. But Mac Jones, we've seen him have early success this year as well. So it doesn't matter who's playing. I think this is still a really good team, a really good defense as well. That Christian McCaffrey is still on the roster, right? So definitely kind of some different ways they can attack and beat you, but ultimately, that's kind of important to note that maybe possibly Brock Purdy's status is a little uncertain right now, up in the air for the matchup versus the Rams. Changes some things, changes our perspective on what we're kind of expecting this game to look like, right? When it's all said and done. So here's what Kyle Shanahan had to say about Brock Purdy. Says hopefully we'll find out more later today, but anytime guys are sore and hurting on a Monday, you usually don't stress too much about it, but anytime you have a Thursday game, it's a totally different element. So I'm concerned with anybody who's not totally healthy at this moment, but we'll have to get more information on that later today to really have a clue on what to speculate. So, kind of sounding like, as I'm already messing up all this stuff here, kind of sounds like they're iffy, up in the air, don't really know what to think in terms of Brock Purdy being healthy come Thursday. So, take it as you will. Is that good news, bad news? I don't know. Again, I don't celebrate injuries. I'm just simply acknowledging, hey, the Rams could potentially play this matchup versus Mac Jones rather than Brock Purdy. Changes their game plan, changes the way the Rams will approach this game. We'll wait and see on the updates for Brock Purdy. If he does play, seems he'll still be dealing with some injuries, as obviously he's coming off of a turf toe, missed a couple weeks, or I think maybe I might have only missed a week, but overall turf toe injury, he's coming back from that, so we'll have to wait and see if he's healthy come Thursday. Other than that, we can move on into my favorite part of the episode, Trivia of the Day, where I ask a trivia question. You give your trivia guesses down below in the comment section. Whether you're right or whether you're wrong, we give you a shout out on the next episode that I'm on here at the Rams Digest. I might have my numbers off a little bit on today's trivia, so I apologize. But the question we asked here was, who was the first kicker inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame? That might not even be the question I asked last episode, actually, now that I think about it. So let me pull up last episode's question. Last episode I asked, who was the only NFL player to be named MVP as a kicker? Been asking a lot of kicker questions lately, it seems like. But who was the only NFL player to be named league MVP as a kicker? Was it A, Justin Tucker? Was it B, Morton Anderson? Was it C, Mark Mosley? Or was it D, Gary Anderson? A couple of you guys play along with the trivia of the day. Appreciate all of you guys for always playing along. Here were the trivia of the day guesses from last episode. Lake Show fan says Anderson for the kicker question. Thomas says, sorry I've missed some. I've had to work extra days at work due to unexpected circumstances. Sorry to hear that, Thomas. Hope everything's doing okay. Hopefully the work isn't too tough for you and you get to enjoy some time off, especially watching these Rams play football, hopefully. I hope everyone is back from injury. And for trivia question, Gary Anderson. And then Floyd says, I think Mark Mosley was the first. So for the trivia of the day of which, and I'm all over the place here, who was the only NFL player to be named league MVP as a kicker? The trivia of the day question answer was C, Mark Mosley. In 1982 for Washington, he was the only player to be named MVP as a kicker. I think he made a crazy amount at the time of field goals or something like that, or extra points, so definitely interesting to have an MVP. Kicker be your MVP, but I guess nowadays, if you look at it, a team that could maybe a couple years ago, right? The Justin Tuckers of the world. I know Justin Tucker isn't the most popular of names right now, but back in a couple years ago, right? Justin Tucker could have been potentially a guy you can consider for MVP at some point. Brendan Aubrey now for the Cowboys, I think, if they ever win some games, could be one of those guys as well. So it's kind of interesting to think about. Are there any kickers in the league now that could ever win MVP? I don't think this would ever happen, but just kind of throwing it out there to see. But appreciate all of you guys for playing along. Shout out to Lake Show, shout out to Thomas, and a special shout out to Floyd for getting it correct. I think, Floyd was the only one who got it correct, so appreciate all of you guys for playing along. Special shout out for Floyd for getting the correct answer for the trivia of the day. For those who missed, and you guys are like, hey man, I got to catch up with these trivia of the days. I got to hop on this and get a shout out. Go ahead and play along with today's trivia of the day so you can get a shout out for the next episode that I'm on here at the Rams Digest. Today's episode, for today's trivia of the day for today's episode, is which NFL team has the longest active playoff drought? Which team currently has the longest active playoff drought? A few interesting team names here. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Don't Google it. Don't cheat. Which NFL team has the longest active playoff drought? Is it A, the Chicago Bears? Is it B, the Carolina Panthers? Is it C, the New York Jets? Or is it D, the Cleveland Browns? Which NFL team has the longest active playoff drought? The Bears, the Panthers, the Jets, or the Browns? Give your guesses down below in the comment section. Whether right or whether wrong, we'll give you a shout out on the next episode that I'm on here at the Rams Digest. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. That's going to do it for me. I'm your host, Joshua Giron, and I'm out.